assumes chairmanship of African Peace and Security Council. Governor Sheriff Oborevwori addresses workers, reaffirms commitment as demands mount on May Day. Inspector General of Police issues stern warning to officers over indiscipline. Abroad, United Nations sanctions former Democratic Republic of Congo amid crisis. Good evening and welcome to Delta TV Main News. I am Francis Ofudwe. Remember, you can also follow our news online on Facebook at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba and on YouTube at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, or visit our website www.dbsasaba.com. Now the details. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has confirmed that Nigeria has assumed the chairmanship of the African Union Peace and Security Council for the month of May 2026. This marks the first time Nigeria is leading the council since December 2022, reinforcing its long-standing role in continental peace and security. Notably, Nigeria remains the only member state to have served continuously on the council since its establishment in 2004, bringing significant institutional experience to the position. During its one-month tenure, Nigeria is expected to stir high-level discussions on pressing security challenges across Africa, with a strong focus on the West African and Sahel regions. Key issues on the agenda include the impact of climate change and conflict in the Lake Chad Basin and the Sahel, as well as strategies to combat transnational organized crime across the continent. Other priority areas include the review of a draft 5-year African Union counterterrorism strategic plan, efforts to operationalize the African Standby Force, and measures to strengthen maritime security through the proposed combined task force to tackle piracy in the Gulf of Guinea. The African Union Peace and Security Council is made up of 15 member states, elected based on regional representation, serving either 2 or 3-year terms. Current members include Nigeria, Benin, Gabon, Algeria, Lesotho, Morocco, Somalia, South Africa, Cote d'Ivoire, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Sierra Leone, Uganda, Ethiopia, Cameroon, and Eswatini. Nigeria's leadership of the Council this month is expected to shape key policy directions aimed at enhancing peace, stability, and security across the African continent. And now, as workers in Delta State today joined their counterparts across the country and the world to celebrate Workers' Day, Governor Sheriff Oborevwori has reaffirmed the administration's commitment to the welfare and productivity of workers. The celebration with the theme Insecurity, Poverty, Bane of Decent Work drew affiliate unions of the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC and the Trade Union Congress TUC, government officials and other stakeholders to the Cenotaph Asaba venue of the event. Bere Botu now reports.
Addressing workers, Governor Sheriff Oborevwori, represented by his deputy, Sir Monday Oyeme, said his administration was implementing key measures to enhance the productivity and welfare of workers with the prompt payment of salaries, regular promotion exercise, and the construction of additional residential quarters for permanent secretaries. He said his administration was also expanding training and capacity building programs while improving the work environment to boost morale, efficiency, and service delivery, adding that his goal was to build a modern, professional, and highly responsive public service. Governor Oborevwori noted that these efforts were complemented with targeted recruitment, particularly in the education and medical sectors, to strengthen service delivery. While congratulating workers for their resilience, discipline, and dedication, Governor Oborevwori said they are the backbone of governance and the engine of the economy.
The 2026 Workers' Day theme, Insecurity, Poverty, Bane of Decent Work, highlights the harsh reality undermining the dignity and productivity of labor in Nigeria. Insecurity disrupts livelihood, discourages investment, and places workers in constant danger, making it impossible for economies to thrive. At the same time, poverty erodes human dignity, weakens productivity, and deny workers the basic conditions needed for meaningful employment.
Governor Oborowori affirmed that the theme of this year's May Day celebration calls for collective action to restore the true meaning of decent work by addressing both insecurity and poverty, by creating sustainable jobs, ensuring fair wages, and supporting workers through social protection and improved living conditions. He commended the NLC and TUC for the industrial peace and harmony experienced in the state.
We remain mindful of our retirees, whose service laid the foundation for today's progress. Today, we have cleared pension benefits for state workers and cleared outstanding liabilities in local government level. This is our commitment to dignity in retirement. In response to current economic reality, we have also prioritized social protection and economic empowerment through the More Grant Scheme and the CARES program. Hundreds of thousands of Deltans, traders, artisans, and entrepreneurs have received support to sustain and grow their livelihood.
In a joint speech by the NLC and TUC, read by the state chairman of the NLC, Comrade Goodluck of Fabruku, said the theme of this year's Workers' Day, insecurity, poverty, bane of decent work, highlighted the realities confronting millions of workers across the country. He said no economy could thrive where insecurity persisted, as insecurity was a threat to work, life, and national stability, while poverty was a silent enemy of productivity and human dignity. Comrade Ofobruku urged government to overcome insecurity and poverty by strengthening national security through intelligence-driven strategies and community collaboration, creating sustainable jobs, and ensuring fair wages, among others. The Labour leader called on the state government to appoint substantive permanent secretaries, look into the plight of retirees under the contributory pension scheme, provide low-cost housing and mass transit for workers, among other needs. A highlight of the event was the march past by affiliate unions of the NLC and TUC, where the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria emerged first, followed by the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria.
As Nigerian workers celebrate May Day, they are highly expectant that government at all levels will provide good housing system, transportation, and other benefits that will make working conditions better for them. From the senator, venue of the celebration, I am Pere Botu reporting.
As Nigeria joins the rest of the world to mark this year's Workers' Day, attention is again focused on the contributions of workers to national development and the challenges they face in a changing economy. Favor Okafor now reports.
For many Nigerian workers, May Day is more than a public holiday. It is a time to recognize their resilience and contributions to national growth. The day traces its roots to the 19th century labor movement and the struggle for an 8-hour workday, now a global standard. In Nigeria, it provides a platform for labor unions and government to assess the state of the workforce and advocate improved wages, better working conditions, and job security. This year's theme, Insecurity and Poverty, the Bane of Decent Work, highlights growing concerns affecting workers across the country, with many saying the day draws attention to pressing welfare issues.
It's a day where we come together to look at how we have fared all through the previous year and see how well it has affected or impacted in the lives of.
It's a day of celebration. You celebrate yourself, you celebrate your ministry, you celebrate yourself as a civil servant.
The basic needs of workers should be met. For example, ash strength should be reduced because the rate of ash strength in Asabana is something else. So government should look into it and bring it down.
Despite their role in the economy, many workers continue to face low wages, job insecurity, rising insecurity, and the high cost of living. Labor leaders say Workers' Day helps amplify these concerns and push for policy reforms.
It's very, very significant in a worker's life in Nigeria, in the sense that it's a day they come together to share ideas, to meet the government and also to complain their pains to the government.
When it comes to worker salary, it's so paltry that you cannot even live on it for 1 week. These days, people struggle to buy their land to build their house, to construct their roads, to have their electricity, to have their own water. These are things that workers should not know anything about if their welfare in terms of housing is taken care of.
As economic pressures persist, stakeholders are calling for stronger collaboration between government, employers, and labor unions to tackle insecurity and poverty and build a more productive workforce.
I will advise our co-workers that you don't just blame your leaders because it's easy to blame. Every worker, you owe it a responsibility to make NSC, TUC, and the labor movement to survive.
For many workers, the real significance of Workers' Day will only begin to manifest when the celebration goes beyond speeches and translates into real improvement in their lives. Favor Okafor reporting.
Workers across the state have called on employers to prioritize fair wages, improved working conditions, and job security as they marked this year's International Workers' Day with their counterparts across the globe. The workers spoke on their expectations with Henry Usiayo at the cenotaph venue of the celebration.
The workers stressed that the rising cost of living had made it increasingly difficult to meet basic needs, urging employers to review salaries in line with current economic realities. They highlighted the need for prompt and regular payment of wages, noting that delays in salary disbursement by some employers had continued to affect productivity and morale in the workplace.
First, our taxes in Delta State are very high compared to what is available in the federal. We call upon our very amiable governor to do something about the taxation in Delta State. If they can call, the government can come up with measures to alleviate the suffering of public servants, it will go a long way.
Why don't we buy today's fuel price so that Nigerians can at least feel better? We are not finding it funny.
We must ensure that workers are well kept and then the work environment also very conducive.
Beyond wages, workers emphasize the importance of improved welfare, including access to healthcare, safe working environments, and provision of essential tools for efficiency.
My expectation for my employer is that, first and foremost, concerning our tax matter, we are begging His Excellency, the government that knows the plight of the people, to help us concerning this tax matter, because it's based on the civil servants. Secondly, the transportation too is another thing. Thirdly, the rentage is another thing again. So we are begging the governor, the governor himself to help us.
Some employees in the informal sector also called for better inclusion in labor policies and social protection schemes while advocating opportunities for career growth and more respectful employer-employee relationships.
We wish that our employer will know that we the workers are contributing our quotas and we are giving our best to the survival of the existence of their company, and we expect that they should be thinking towards the improvement of our welfare, knowing the economic nationality of our country, and while we give our best, Nigerian workers demand a good and better wage. My giving message to workers is to congratulate them for a day like this and urge them to keep the spirit of their work serious. Like the prayers that we prayed. We pray that one day the government remember them.
Henry Usiayo reporting.
Mixed reactions have continued to trail the implementation of the new tax laws as workers express concern over shrinking take-home pay amid rising cost of living. Gloria Otolo spoke with a cross-section of workers in the state as the major activities held at the Cenotaph, Asaba. The report.
Some workers said the new tax deductions had reduced their monthly earnings, making it difficult to meet basic needs. They explained that increased taxation had lowered their disposable income, affecting feeding, transportation, and family responsibilities, even as cost of living continued to soar.
As we celebrate our day today of happiness union under the children's school fees,
workers are not happy. Women are not happy. The tax laws, the hardship is killing a lot of workers.
Civil servant noted that while the policy aimed to boost government revenue, it was placing additional pressure on already struggling workers.
All labor leaders, industrial unions, affiliates of the NLC and teams.
All over the world, tax and negotiable. But I don't see where the government refused to have a dialogue with the workers so that we will come together and agree, we negotiate on what is good for us, because we are critical stakeholders in the government of Delta State.
Others believe that reforms could support national development if properly managed and transparently implemented, calling for better sensitization and fair application of the policy and urging a balance between revenue generation and workers' welfare. Gloria Otolo reporting.
Meanwhile, Labour leaders in the state have described the new tax laws of the federal government as injurious to the take-home pay of workers. They bared their mind to Ejimel Dweme of the Workers' Day celebration.
The officials, including the state NLC chairman, Comrade Goodluck Ofobruku, said it was hasty for the state government to implement the policy when the federal government was yet to fully enforce it, stressing the need for caution.
If you talk of the issue of tax, we are not happy because we were not consulted before it was implemented, and only Delta State has implemented it. The federal government that even enacted the law has not implemented it.
Talking about the new tax regime, I know it's biting hard on our people, and it's a law that has been established. But there is provision for that same law that give the powers to those implement it to have consideration for the workforce they are representing.
They stressed that they would engage the state government in dialogue to reconsider the decision, urging workers to remain calm and law-abiding while ongoing engagements with government continued.
But we are in discussions with the state government to see how, even though tax is a law and workers must pay their tax, they should give it a human face so that the minimum wage that we were happy to earn will not just be eroded by the new tax.
Considering the pain the workers are facing in the state, it's urgent and important that the government of Delta State have a rethink, to have a review how the members' impact can be reduced as a result of the paying tax.
And know that we are suffering. Taxes are killing us. The matter of taxation is very serious in Delta State. We want the governor, our amiable governor, to look into the issue of taxation of public servants.
The labor leaders gave assurance that organized labor would pursue constructive dialogue to ensure that the implementation of tax policies did not further worsen the financial burden on workers, but would instead reflect fairness and consideration for their welfare. Ejime Uduime reporting.
The atmosphere at the Workers' Day celebration was lively, vibrant, and filled with energy as workers marched with enthusiasm, drawing cheers from onlookers who admired the rich blend of colors and spirited performances. Violet Moye brings us this report.
Participants moved in coordinated steps to music, creating a ceremonial display that reflected unity among the workforce. Groups were easily identified, with some dressed in union t-shirts and Ankara outfits, while others appeared in official or personal attire, adding color and variety to the procession. Some participants described the experience as fun and engaging, noting that the march past, though informal, fostered a strong sense of togetherness and celebration among workers.
Today is our day, so we are here to have fun, show the world that we are workers.
The Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, JUSUN, emerged winner of the march past, followed by the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria. The colorful display left a lasting impression, reinforcing the spirit of unity, pride, and celebration that have always defined the Workers' Day celebration, despite challenges. Violet Moye reporting.
As workers in the state joined their counterparts nationwide to mark Workers' Day, it is yet another opportunity to call on employers to prioritize the health and safety of employees. Esther Oputa rubbed minds with a cross-section of workers on the issue.
The workers pointed out that the health of an employee determined productivity, as an unhealthy worker could not perform optimally. They stressed that economic hardship and rising responsibilities had increased stress levels, with some workers experiencing anxiety, high blood pressure, and other related conditions, and others falling into depression. They advised employers to prioritize workplace health by providing first aid clinics, as well as organizing regular health talks and medical checks to reduce risks.
It's possible to set aside a day where all workers must go for checkup, or they bring medical personnel to the workplace in order for them to check their health status and to know whether they are healthy. That's why at times you hear some people, they fall at the workplace and they die, because many of us, you see, our BPs have risen, especially with this current hardship.
Health-wise, we have to be careful. The job today is not as safe as before. For those of us who work in the engineering sector, generally, we see that there are some hazards that we encounter that management cannot even fill the bills. Even when government fills the bills for you, you as an individual has exposed yourself, you suffer the pain, and sometimes we lost our colleagues due to that. So it's something that as an individual, we just need to be very, very conscious of our work environment.
The people also called for the provision of safety equipment, especially for those in hazardous environments, such as healthcare, engineering, and the power sector, noting that protective gear was essential in high-risk roles. They appealed for special allowances for essential service providers, including journalists and health workers, while urging proper division of labor to prevent overburdening staff.
It is good for every worker to have division of labor so that the workload will not be on particular set of persons. At that, I think there will be a perfect working environment and conditions.
What they need to do is that, yes, they need to provide us with the necessary safety materials. Like we face hazardous material like for example, I am a mason. I do with cement. So we need hand glove, we need nose masks. At the end also we need picnic so that we can take in order for us to refresh our system, the air we breathe in.
In terms of safety, they are doing well. In fact, for the past how many years, we've not recorded any hazard in our industry, any accident or casualty. So I believe in terms of safety, the company is doing well.
The workers enjoined their counterparts to give priority attention to their physical and mental health, even as they commended the state government's health insurance scheme, urging workers to enroll with their families to benefit from improved healthcare services.
Health is wealth. That is a common saying. Without health, there's nothing anybody can achieve. Even a worker can never be productive if that worker is not healthy. So all employers of labor should ensure the safety of every staff. Ensure, and now even in Delta State, we have health insurance. So it is assumed, and in short, it's even mandatory that all employers should enroll their employee to the scheme.
Esther Oputa reporting.
Still on labor, workers in the state have continued to express concern about the biting economic hardship in the country, describing the rising cost of living as a major challenge of their survival and productivity. Henry Unogwa now reports.
The workers said the rising cost of living had made life difficult, noting that salaries had remained the same despite increases in food, transport, and other essentials. They added that the hardship was affecting their emotional well-being and the family life, while expressing concern over pensioners yet to receive their benefits.
What we are doing, we are cutting down the standard of living because we just have to cope. We are humans and we need to cope. We are cutting down the standard of living because if you don't adjust, it will be devastating on us. So we have to adjust. But we are still calling on the government of the day to look into workers' salary because I think the workers are the first people, the first person that have been affected. It takes government 2, 3, sometimes 5 years to increase salaries. It has been very, very excruciating. We are just, let me say, eating from hand to mouth. It has been very challenging for the Nigerian worker, for the Delta State workers. It has been very, very challenging. It has not been rosy. That's just the truth. It has not really been easy because the cost of everything is so high and salary is still the same. The worst part, whatsoever little business you may tend to do, there is no electricity to achieve that. So it has really made it difficult. I also pity pensioners because a lot of them who have retired and are yet to get their pension, I wonder how they are living. Because if we who are getting salary, we are finding it difficult, what do you expect the pensioners to do?
Some disclosed that they had resorted to cutting expenses, bulk buying, and engaging in small-scale farming to cope with the situation.
You just have to cut down some of expenses, activities we do. Those of us that don't have what we do, we trek some distance because of high cost of transportation. Them as children that are even attending private schools, we put them out of the private school to public school. So I went into farming. I have a little garden behind my house. At least it helped me to cope one way or the other. I make extra income, passive income from that.
When we go to work, we pay transport to our different workplaces. A place that you will use 500 to reach before, you will spend about 1.5 to go to the place. Then how will you be able to feed your families? It's a problem.
Government should subsidize the fuel, the cost of fuel, provide public transport system that is affordable to workers. Also make sure that they increase allowances and they should remove tax from allowances. They are taxing weighing allowance, which is not supposed to be.
The workers appealed to the government to increase salaries subsidize transport, improve allowances, and strengthen healthcare and social support system for workers. Henry Onogwa reporting.
As activities marking this year's International Workers' Day held at the Cenotaph, it was another opportunity for petty trading and other commercial activities. This time, Psalms Okojite.
The Cenotaph, venue of the Workers' Day celebration, buzzed with commercial activities as petty traders and food vendors positioned themselves along major access roads and within the venue. Peddlers of drinks, food, clothing, shoes, and souvenirs made breaks business, creating a mini market atmosphere around the celebration.
Last week I'm here for one program and they said that, but I know that today, May 4th, is Worker Day generally all over the world. That is why I stay here to make a profit before I left back to Lagos. When I'm going now, I will make it, but I will not enter the serious, but I will enter trailer because I'm a widow. So I came here to also myself.
Well, I decided to come here today because today is a very big day for the workers, because today is a workers' day and the first day of the day. So I'm here to showcase my business, to tell the world what I'm selling.
Very nice, lively, very smooth. Yes, I sell more today than other days.
Okay, because I know if I come, people will come in masses. Even if it's 2 hours I spend here, I know I will sell more than the one I will sell a day in my shop. That's what I think.
Transport operators were also keyed into the movement, conveying workers to and through the venue, with movement largely controlled by security personnel. Security was visibly tight, with officers stationed at entry and exit points as well as adjoining roads conducting checks and managing crowds' movement. The celebration ended peacefully with workers dispersing in an orderly manner amid calls for improved welfare and better working conditions. Psalms Okojite reporting.
Still on the celebration, essential services workers are under growing pressure as they continue to juggle demanding jobs with family and social life. Bridget Agetu spoke with some of such workers at the May Day celebration on their challenges.
The workers said the nature of their duties led to fatigue, mental strain, and little time for personal relationships. They noted with regret that they were often forced to miss important family moments, affecting both home life and social well-being.
Essential workers are those categories of workers who work 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, 30 days in a month, 365 days in a year. They don't go on rest, they don't go on break. Because also the kind of quality of service they give to the public.
It actually affected us so much because there are times that even our husband cry out. They need our attention. Maybe we have a sick one even in the house. We walk out of our sick one and go out to go and be managing other people who are sick, leaving our own family. So that is the much we are putting as healthcare workers.
Some of us who are working in the media sector, precisely the broadcast sector, we find it very difficult for us to have time with our families. We follow the story. Once the story breaks, you are the first person to announce the story, to tell the people what the story looks like. And all eyes are on you. So obviously, you are 24 hours working. You don't even have time for yourself. And most of the times, you wake up very early in the morning and you'll be the last person to go to bed.
On areas of support from employers and the government, the workers called for stronger action in improving their welfare and safeguarding their mental and physical health.
Government should give special pay package to essential workers. Look at the doctors, look at the nurses, even the policemen, police station. These places are the places that I guess are never shut. You know, in a day, you go to the hospital and you say that the gate is shut, the best places are full. No, they must attend to you. So we are asking that government should look towards us and assist so that we can, so that if we are losing in one area, they will also gain in terms of remuneration
Our colleagues in the medical sector, they have this hazard allowance they receive on daily basis most of the times. But we working in the media sector, we don't have that hazard allowance. Reduced tariff.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Provision of vehicles, affordable loans.
The people recommended flexible work policies, improved pay, and immediate reforms, warning of long-term effects if nothing was done.
Fair remuneration. We help the nurses to actually work effectively. We try, because when you pay somebody well, you are telling the person your work or your service is appreciated and is being valued. That is the reason you are paying the person well.
Bridget Agetu reporting.
Away from the Workers' Day celebration now, the National Economic Council has approved 112 as Nigeria's unified national emergency number in a move aimed at strengthening rapid response to crises across the country. The third decision was reached at the Council's 157th meeting, chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima. According to the Vice President, the initiative is designed to eliminate delays caused by bureaucracy and provide Nigerians with a single, reliable number during emergencies such as accidents, insecurity, or natural disasters. A multi-agency implementation committee will be set up, led by the Office of the Vice President and the Nigerian Communications Commission, to coordinate the rollout and ensure nationwide adoption. Mr. Shettima emphasized that the reform is not just technical, but a critical step towards saving lives through faster and more coordinated emergency responses. The Council also reviewed progress on rehabilitation of police training institutions nationwide and urged the Ministry of Finance to fast-track the release of funds for the project. The NEC reaffirmed its commitment to policies that deliver tangible impact and improve the safety and welfare of Nigerians. The Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, has issued a strong warning to officers, declaring that recklessness and impunity within the force will no longer be tolerated. Speaking at the passing out parade of 1,068 retrained constables in Uyo, the police boss said the exercise marks a new era of professionalism and accountability in the Nigeria police force. Disu stressed that untrained officers with firearms pose a danger to society, while disciplined personnel remain true protectors of the public. I reaffirmed that Force Order 237 remains in effect, stating that firearms must only be used as a last resort and within the law. The IGP warned that any officer found guilty of unlawful killings, extortion, or misconduct will face immediate dismissal and prosecution, insisting that no uniform shields anyone from justice. He also urged the newly retrained officers to uphold discipline, professionalism, and respect for citizens as they return to active duty. Meanwhile, the Akwa Ibom State Police Command highlighted operational successes, including the rescue of kidnapped victims and safe evacuations of explosives, reaffirming its commitment to community policing and public safety. Delta TV main news still to come. United Nations sanctions former Democratic Republic of Congo amid crisis. Stay with us.
Some say learning is fun, but as a mom, I see how demanding it can be for my child. That's why I ensure he starts every day with a cup of Bonvita. Bonvita, prepare them to win every day.
Cadbury 3-in-1 hot chocolate, the treat you deserve.
This is Delta TV main news at 8. We go straight to the foreign scene where Iran has submitted a new proposal for negotiations with the United States through Pakistani mediators. According to state news agency in a move that could revive stalled effort to end the ongoing conflict. While details of the proposal remain unclear, global oil prices dropped shortly after the report, following weeks of sharp increases triggered by Iran's blockade of the strategic Strait of Hormuz. The blockade has disrupted nearly 20% of global oil and gas supplies, raising fears of a wider economic downturn. Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy continues to restrict Iranian crude exports. A ceasefire declared on April 8 is still holding, but tensions remain high. Reports that Donald Trump was to be briefed on possible new military strikes had earlier driven oil prices to a full-year high. Iran has since strengthened its air defenses, warning of a strong response to any attack amid fears of a coordinated U.S. and Israeli offensive. So far, Washington has not outlined its next steps, and no date has been set for fresh talks. The conflict, which has claimed thousands of lives, continues to heighten security concerns across the Gulf region. Regional leaders are now calling for adherence to international law to ensure safe navigation to the vital shipping route. The United States has imposed sanctions on former Democratic Republic of Congo President Joseph Kabila, accusing him of backing Rwanda-supported M23 rebels and fueling instability in the country's conflict-hit eastern region. In a statement, the U.S. Department of the Treasury said Kabila provided financial support to the rebel-linked Congo River Alliance, also known as AFC, and encouraged Congolese troops to defect and join the group. Officials say the actions have worsened violence in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, leading to thousands of civilian deaths and widespread displacement. The Democratic Republic of Congo Deputy Prime Minister Jacquemain Shabani welcomed the move, describing Kabila as a key architect of the country's instability and a major obstacle to peace. The sanctions are part of a broader U.S. efforts to revive a fragile peace agreement between DR Congo and Rwanda, which collapsed recently or shortly after it was signed in Washington last December. Washington has also recently sanctioned the Rwanda Defense Force and senior military officials over their alleged role in the ongoing conflict, calling for an immediate withdrawal from the mineral-rich eastern region. Efforts to de-escalate tensions are ongoing, but the situation remains volatile as regional and international actors push for a lasting resolution. And in business, the Nigeria stock market extended its bullish run, recording a massive 3.36 trillion naira gain in investor wealth ahead of the International Workers' Day holiday. Data from the Nigerian Exchange Limited shows that total market capitalization rose from 152.7 trillion naira at the start of the trading to close at 155.9 trillion naira, reflecting renewed investor confidence. The all-share index also climbed significantly, ending the session at 277.81 points, up from 237,205.59 recorded at the opening bell. Market breadth closed at a positive note, with 46 stocks posting gains compared to 40 losers. Top performers included CAP, FTN, Cocoa, UACN, Unilever, and Seplat, all recording the maximum daily gain of 10%. On the flip side, Alex led the losers charge with a 9.95% drop in share price, while Royal Exchange and Legend Identity also recorded notable declines. Analysts say the sustained rally over the past two sessions signals a recovery from earlier losses this week as investors position ahead of the public holiday. Still on business, Nigeria's Dangote refinery has announced a reduction in the price of aviation fuel, also known as Jet A1, to 1,820 naira per litre, significantly lower than the 3,000 naira per litre previously speculated in the market. The refinery said the move is aimed at improving price transparency and reducing the influence of middlemen in the aviation fuel supply chain. The new pricing comes as airline operators continue to grapple with rising operational costs, driven largely by a surge in Jet A1 prices over recent months. The increase, estimated at nearly 300%, followed escalating tensions in the Middle East, which disrupted global energy markets. According to the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, aviation fuel currently sells between 1,960 naira and 2,800 naira per litre, lower than earlier projections, but still a major concern for operators. The high cost of fuel had pushed some airlines to consider shutting down operations or increasing ticket fares, raising fears of disruptions across the aviation sector. In response, the federal government recently introduced a 30% debt relief package for airline operators as part of efforts to stabilize the industry. Industry analysts said the Dangote refinery new pricing could offer much-needed relief and help restore confidence in Nigeria's aviation sector. Time for sports. The Nigeria Football Federation (NFF) has officially confirmed the fixtures for the playoff rounds of this year's President Federation Cup, marking the start of the national competition. Following the conclusion of state FA Cup competitions across the country, where winners and runners-up emerged, the tournament will commence with playoff matches scheduled for Wednesday, May 6 at various venues nationwide. In a statement signed by Ruth David, the NFF's Director of Competitions, both the men's and women's categories will kick off simultaneously across designated centers. In one of the headline fixtures, Lagos-based G12 FC will face Osun State champions Dokal Kairu FC at the MKO Abiola Arena in Abeokuta. Elsewhere, Ondo champions Sunshine Stars under-19 are set to take on Ekiti Harmony FC in Osogbo. Other fixtures in the men's category include Westgate FC of Edo against Amanda FC of Anambra and Enugu, while Zamfara United Feeders will clash with Kanta Warriors of Kebbi in Sokoto. Adamawa Academy are scheduled to face El Kanemi Junior from Borno in Bauchi, and Sporting Supreme under-19 of Abuja will travel to Lafia for a tie against Raiders FC of Kogi State. In the women's competition, several intriguing matchups have been confirmed. NAF Queens FC of the Federal Capital Territory will take on Model Queen FC of Kwara, while Kada Queens FC from Kaduna face Plateau's Mighty Jets Mata FC. Bayelsa Princesses FC are drawn against Ikukwoma FC of Imo, and Zoha Queens FC of Enugu will meet Estington FC of Ebonyi. The playoff round serves as a gateway to the main draw of Nigeria's oldest domestic cup competition, as teams across the country vie for a place in the next stage. And now, our thought for the day. Every setback is a setup for a stronger comeback. And now for a rundown of our major stories in our bulletin this evening. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed that Nigeria has assumed the chairmanship of the African Union Peace and Security Council for the month of May 2026. This marks the first time Nigeria is leading the council since December 2022, reinforcing its long-standing role in continental peace and security. As workers in Delta State today join their counterparts across the country and the world to celebrate Workers' Day, Governor Sheriff Berewari has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to the welfare and productivity of workers. The celebration with the theme, Insecurity, Poverty, Bane of Decent Work, drew affiliate unions of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC), government officials, and other stakeholders on Cenotaph, Asaba, venue of the event. The Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, has issued a strong warning to officers declaring that recklessness and impunity within the force will no longer be tolerated. Speaking at the passing out parade of 1,068 retrained constables in New York, the police boss said the exercise marks a new era of professionalism and accountability in the Nigeria police force. And abroad, reported that the United States has imposed sanctions on former Democratic Republic of Congo President Joseph Kabila, accusing him of backing Rwanda-supported M23 rebels and fueling instability in the country's conflict-hit eastern region. In a statement, the U.S. Department of Treasury said Kabila provided financial support to the rebel-linked Congo River Alliance, also known as AFC, and encouraged Congolese troops to defect and join the group. Remember, you can also follow our news online on Facebook and YouTube, both at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, or visit our website www.dpsasaba.com. That's the news. Thank you so much for being part of it. My name is Francis Ofulwe. Good evening and happy Workers' Day.